welcome back to the What the Falk Sunderland review show. An early goal from Nathan Broadhead meant a scrappy 1-0 win over Morecambe at the Mazuma Stadium, I think it's now called, was enough to guarantee the lads fifth place and a pretty safe passage to the playoffs next week against Sheffield Wednesday. Very much first part of the job done, so we say, but in the words of Alex Neil himself, I think pretty much the hard work begins now, essentially. And as always, with an important win and two huge playoff games coming up at Sheffield Wednesday, as I mentioned before, there's plenty to dig into on the review show this week. Regular duo of Dave Lawrence and Brad Sharp are back to join me after what's been quite a busy week for me this week. Sorry for the lack of preview show. I'm sure you let me off. But firstly, Dave, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, mate. Very well.
Good. Brad, yourself?
Yeah, very good, mate. Thanks for allowing us back on.
You're welcome. You look quite fresh-faced today. Don't know what it is. You had a shave.
Yeah, I've got myself in good nick. Cup final I'm playing in tomorrow, so if we live with that cup, I can't be looking looking a bit like Dave, really, can I?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, like a hobo.
I think they call it aerodynamics, don't they?
Yeah.
Something like that. So obviously a relatively 1-0 win at Morecambe, a comfortable afternoon in many ways, which I'm quite surprised I'm saying because it's not very Sunderland, is it? But Dave, we're talking at 10 o'clock on the day of the game. Obviously, this will be out in the morning, but how are you feeling in the aftermath of it?
Yeah, it almost felt as though everyone was there on the beach already, as they like to say, for the end of the season, but very low-key, got the job done. I tell you what, I'd take another 3 games just like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would. It was weird. Like, I got up this morning at 6:30. I've been burning the candle at both ends this week, if I'm honest with you. So I was shattered anyway, but bus replacement service. Oh, and there was a load of football fans having a fight on the train as well. So that was great. Fighting amongst themselves. I won't mention the club, but there you go. So it was an interesting morning and I was knackered. And I remember thinking, I'm putting myself through the stress of 90 minutes today to go through stress for hopefully three more games. Like, it's like I was egging on more stress, but then in a sense, it was kind of like really chilled out. But I think that was more to do with us getting the early goal and Plymouth being absolutely crap today. That kind of helped. Thanks, Plymouth. Cheers. Appreciate it. But Brad, sort of same question to you. It feels quite relaxed. I'm sure it won't do this time next week, but how do you feel after the game?
We were far from our best, weren't we? We just felt like that early goal settled us down, and us as fans, and I'm sure it maybe filtered to the players, they're saying that Plymouth are 3-0 down before half time, and it just seemed to sort of be like, right, let's just see this game out, don't need to go gung-ho, and it just sort of, the game just ticked along, and then second half, like, they'll have been made aware for definite at half time about the other score. Us as fans have then seen MK go 5 up, and we know the job's done, really. It was just a matter of not slipping up, so we've got MK over the 2 legs, what have you. It's just felt like early goals, job done. You didn't seem Morecambe really threatening us. I thought we were quite solid at the back. So, yeah, there's not much that you can review about the game because there wasn't really a lot that happened, to be honest.
You're right, there's really not. It was like when I'm writing questions down, I'm thinking there's not really much to go on. But one thing I suppose you could say, Dave, is that it was an unusually stress-free afternoon pretty much as soon as it was scored. And then, like I said before, Plymouth basically capitulating before half-time and basically making sure that everyone that was expecting a stressful day didn't really have one. It really wasn't riveting. As Brad said, I agree, we weren't at our best. But we got the job done, and with it being a stress-free game, how much credit do we have to give the lads for it being relatively stress-free? It's very un-Sunderland, isn't it?
Very un-Sunderland. Let's be honest, we were probably all expecting going into the last 10 minutes needing to score, or someone getting sent off in the first half an hour and clinging on, or like you say, very, very un-Sunderland. But listen, the Broadhead injury, and let's be honest, the way he was lay on the floor, it's probably going to be bad enough to keep him out, I would have thought, unfortunately. So we haven't quite getting out damage-free, but yeah, like Brent said a couple of times, job's done, unscathed, another clean sheet, all them little bits of attention to detail, which we seem to have lacked. You know, I just said to you before we started recording, kind of, listen, how many times since Alex Neil have we been battered? And we haven't, have we? And that's exactly what we need to do for the next, hopefully, as you say, 3 games, but certainly the next 2. You know, let's hope the stadium lights rocking on Friday night. Let's hope we get a few thousand there. Let's hope a few people have half days, get smashed up before the game and get behind the lads a bit and see if we can, you know, dare I say it. And it's not going to be as easy as that, but if we can get somehow a 2-0 or a 3-1 lead going into Hillsborough, we've got a bit of a chance. But yeah, it's probably me getting carried away with myself, to be honest.
Oh, we'll beat them 5-0 last time, so you never know. It's mad, really, if you put both games in the league that we've played against them, and we'll come on to this, but there is that kind of, we'll beat them 5-0, but we also played it awful and got beat 3-0 at Hillsborough, so it's a funny one. But there's a big thing.
I tweeted earlier, mate, the problem is we haven't got Kim Yoker anymore, so Sheffield aren't going to be as worried as what they were first time around. But
I do feel Kim Yoker would be the difference maker here, I must be honest, mate. I wanted to ignore it when you said it and thought, I just don't think about it, Graham. But on a serious note, one striker that I think we are going to miss. You're touching it just there, Brad. Sorry, Dave. I want to throw this one to Brad, but the kind of, I wouldn't say the atmosphere was bad in the away end because it was great all day, but when Broadhead went down, you were a bit like, oh no, like this kid's made of glass. And unfortunately, when he goes down, it's a bit like Jan Kirchhoff. You kind of think, oh, well, that's him done for a couple of weeks. And we can't really afford to do it now. I pray and hope I'm wrong. Obviously, he came out and he clapped the fans and that afterwards, but he had that kind of face on that was like, shit. Look, it's a massive negative, no matter how we paint it. If Nathan Broadhead's out the playoff games, hopefully 3 of them as opposed to 2, we've already seen how vital he can be. He's got 13 goals, I think, in about 22 games. A lot of them recently, late goals, early goals, the goal today. If he's out, Brad, how much, truthfully, do you think that affects our promotion chances?
I don't think we'll go up. One thing I will say is, and I know you love him, Jermaine Defoe. If Broadhead's out, my dislike for him will turn to hatred unless we go up.
Harsh. He
doesn't want lads to be hampered who are coming back from injury and then coming through the ranks. So Broadhead's come back from injury. It was the other people he was referring to. That's my worry now. We're so short up top. Ross Stewart's played every minute of every league game.
He's got to be there or thereabouts, mate.
Unbelievable considering he came in last season with a hamstring injury or knee injury that kept him out for a couple of months. But Broadhead being missing, mate, you just see like his goal today, just that little drop of the shoulder, ball in the feet, just give the defender that shimmy, took it on, couple of touches, great finish. He's just a naturally good footballer. It's something that like what Broadhead's got. I don't think like you can really coach it. He's just naturally knows where to be. I mean, on a different scale, but like a sort of Kevin Phillips, it was just like he naturally knows where the goal is. I mean, I know it's like League One, Premier League, or Championship when we had Phillips, but it's just that's the type of player I see in him. He's in the right place at the right time, and yeah, it will be a massive miss. And it looked like he was holding his hamstring, didn't it?
In terms of Broadhead, I believe it's muscular. I think it's his. I think he had a problem before the Rotherham game that potentially might have kept him out, but Alex Neil also said that it's different to that injury. Touching on Broadhead, and I don't want to start on too much of a negative because I'm actually kind of feeling weirdly positive because no one actually fancies us, and that kind of weirdly makes me feel confident. Maybe lack of pressure, who knows? But I know what you mean about Broadhead in terms of the likeness to Phillips. I mean, Phillips is the greatest striker that ever lived, let's be honest. But I include every striker that ever lived, including Pele in that, by the way. But Super Kev did have that kind of knack where he just dropped his shoulder, he just be in the right place at the right time. It was like you said, stuff you kind of coach, and I feel like Broadhead's like that. The goals he scored this season, you go to the Plymouth game when the back heel, like that was sheer class, genius. It must have been in his head before he'd done it, which means he was anticipating the ball before it came in. He's called today the little drop of the shoulder, and then like the finish in the bottom corner.
It's just it's not like a a normal. I say normal, but look at like we had Charlie White last season. I know it's the last game of the season, so we might as well mention him one more time. But like his was always like a ball in the box, one touch finish. Ball in the box, one touch finish. Ross Stewart is a bit different. Yeah, he's capable of doing that. He has got down the lines a few times and some good finishes. But Broadhead scores that much of a variety of goals. You feel like if he's got the ball at feet, he's capable of scoring from anywhere, or at least getting a shot away. And that's what's worrying. That if he's not there, we'll have to change the sort of way we approach it again. Don't get me wrong.
We weren't as good when he went off today. Simply put, we weren't free flowing at all, and I thought Broadhead was poor at Plymouth. But talking about his goals before, we've talked about his good ones. But what about that goal he scored against Shrewsbury? It was messy, but he was there. He was just in the spot. It was a proper Phillipsy sort of goal. If that makes sense, I kind of totally get where you're coming from with that. And it's bloody high praise that, because Phillips did it at a far higher level. But that kind of ability to be in the spot and get away from your man and just anticipate something that's happening before it's actually happened is sort of what Broadhead brings. I really, really hope we haven't lost him for the playoffs, because I just think it's massive. And I think if we do lose him, it's huge. On the flip side, there's a few rumours they might be losing Bannon, but I have a feeling that'll probably, in true Sunderland fashion, turn out to be it'll be us that loses the big player, not them. But
I've just seen he's just tweeted there. See you all Friday.
We've touched on Ross Stewart just there, Dave. I'll throw this one to you. Ross Stewart was took off today, precautionary. From what Alex Neil said, I can't believe I'm quite saying this, to be honest, but apart from the game against Cambridge, I think he's really struggled recently, and I thought he was hung in today. I thought he was really poor. There's a couple of times he came to win the ball, and then his layoff kind of actually put us in bother and let Morecambe break, and a half-decent team might have made a difference from that. I'm loath to criticise him because he's our player of the year. He's been fantastic the majority of the season. But how much do we need him to step up over these next couple of games?
Yeah, massively. Like you say, it's going to be a test of Alex Neil's mettle, really, isn't it? Because if we haven't got Broadhead, he's got to adapt the team somehow, or play someone up front in order to have a plan B, basically plan C, however you want to describe it. Yeah, the one thing we know with Stewart is he doesn't stop trying, and yes, he can be guilty of that kind of, instead of an instant touch, Ronaldo-esque against Chelsea the other night. What a first touch that was, by the way. He can be accused of flying 5 yards off his boot and kind of, in the wrong areas of the pitch, it'll kill you, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, his running stats are unbelievable. Yeah, we need him to step up, let's be honest. We know that the rest of the team can score goals, so we're not relying on them in that sense. But obviously, if we're going to be under the cosh a little bit, which I suspect in times we're going to be, we need him to take that pressure off. We don't need the ball coming back at us when it's been on us for a good 5-7 minutes. So yeah, let's hope he's, like Brad said, the amount of games and minutes he's played is unbelievable, really. 46 game season. It's bound to take it out of you physically and mentally. No two ways about it. Especially when, I suppose, subconsciously, that there's no one else there really to lead the line like him. Do you know what I mean? Even when Defoe was there, it's a physical old League One, and we need him massively. But let's hope he can rediscover his scoring touch a little bit. He scored a couple against Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he, in the 5-0? And yeah, let's hope he just has one last swan song, I suppose.
One last dance.
One last dance. He's played 50 games this season, including cup games. I've just checked that. It's a lot of games. That's the thing. I feel like loads to criticise him, but like Brad, we did chat today, kind of like we WhatsApped each other at the same time, saying what the hell's going on with Roscoe today? He's been stinking, but we know he's got it in him. Like, I love him. Like, I think he can make the step up if, lo and behold, we do what Sunderland don't do and win the playoffs. I think he's a player I'd love to take with us, and it's a player that I think we'll lose if we don't go up because of his quality. But if Broadhead's out, he simply needs to score goals in these next couple of games and hopefully next 3 games, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we were texting. I texted you and said, I think Roscoe's honking in your mind. And you texted me back because you were there and said, oh, he's just gone off. And obviously I was a minute behind. I was like, that's it wasn't just his touch that was getting it was his what he does well usually is he'll get the ball into feet and he can hold it. And he just wasn't backing into defenders. It was just bouncing off him. And I mean, there was one point in the first half, though, it wasn't his fault. One of their lads has rugby tackled him to the floor. He's grabbed him around the throat and it's in front of the lines when Danny was saying on the stream, how has he not seen that? And then that just made me think, please, 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 mate, this thing we get out of this league away from these officials. They can't see stuff like that. Christ almighty. But yeah, we need him to really look. He needs to look at it and think either he's going to fire us to promotion and he needs to be the one to do it, or if we don't go up but he's give it a good account of himself, he'll get himself a move to and the next level. It's a shame he didn't finish top scorer because in my opinion he deserved it. No, Will Keane deserved it because he won it. But
I know who I'd rather have the league.
He's led all season. He's led the scoring charts all season. He's just been done on the last week. It's because Will Keane's got 4 in 2 games. It's just one of them things. But you can't take away everything he's done in the last 46 games. But if he doesn't step up for the next 2, potential 3, that's what's going to be looking at. People will be more like, he didn't get us over the line. And I don't want it to be that type of season. If he gets a couple of goals in the playoffs, in the home leg, away leg, and the rest of the team let him down, he can take his head out. He can go with his head held high.
I mean, he caused Sheffield Wednesday so many problems in the home.
He got a hat-trick that day, but he had a goal taken off him, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So they know what he's capable of. We know what we're capable of. And I mean, we were outstanding against Sheffield Wednesday. We caught them on a very off day. I mean, I don't think they played as bad as that all season. But equally, they were outstanding when we played them. We have played as bad as that all season. 3 occasions I can count. But Sheffield Wednesday was one of them games. Just nothing went right. It was an off day. I can't see us conceding 3 with Alex Neil at the helm. So if Ross can step up in the home tie, it sort of gives us something to work on for the second one. And don't get me wrong, there was a couple of times Ross today, he's back in his own box because they had more corners than us, and he was winning some of the balls in the corners and was helping out at the back. But his job as being the focal point striker wasn't the best today. Potentially, without digging him out, like you say, was probably his worst game for us.
At least
because nothing really came off. But look, he's like you just say, he's played 50 games and he hasn't had the capability of having a rest. So, Ross, you're going to play 53 and get us over the line from.
Yeah, I feel terrible like digging him out. Just like he was poor, and I know what he's capable of, and there's obviously reasons for it and stuff like that. Touching on the ref today, just to go back to the game. Like I said, the game was pretty boring, but that Cole Stockton up top was an absolute nuisance. He was like dragging people, and I mean literally like all over the shop, whereas like he was getting away with it. And when Roscoe was getting like absolutely manhandled and getting choked by their defenders, the ref was just like, play on. There was one point where like Pritchard got kicked in his ankles, then got kicked up the arse, and the referee gave the free kick to Morecambe. But I'm kind of used to these horrendous referees. Dave, Alex Neil did make a couple of changes from the draw room. Callum Doyle nowhere to be seen. I'm kind of all right with that, but O'Nien came back in at centre back on the left hand side of a 3, which we haven't seen him there for a while. Pritchard in the starting 11. Obviously, Jack Clark played most of the game because of Broadhead going off injured. Broadband, sorry. Going into the playoffs, assuming that Broadhead's injured, how close do you think the team that ended today's game will be to the one that starts next Friday?
I wonder if there's any behind closed door friendlies or any kids games for McGeady to have a run out this week as well. Not quite sure what's going on. It'll be interesting. I don't think he'll deviate too much. Really, maybe it's the odds, but I don't think there's going to be too many surprises in starting 11. To be fair, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It almost seemed a very, very attacking lineup today, didn't it? And it kind of. I think it might be a little bit more conservative on Friday without being totally negative. I think Alex Neil's a clever enough bloke to realise that it's a home tie we could do with a couple of goals and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too dissimilar to what finished today. But yeah, I kind of worry Jack Clark. I'm not sure how he's okay, isn't he? But he's just kind of. That left wing back stifles him a little bit. You want him pushed right on against the opposition's full back, don't you? And you're going to have to, unfortunately, put up with the fact that he 5 times out of 10, he's unfortunately going to get it wrong. That's why he's playing League One football, unfortunately.
He's not for me, Jack Clark.
Not my biggest.
He's a kid. He's going to learn, but when you get a player on loan for 6 months that you're not going to keep any longer than 6 months, you kind of need him to produce a bit more than what Jack Clark's producing, I think. If he's a project, don't get me wrong, because I've got similar concerns of the likes of Matete, but I'm aware that Matete is ours and we can coach him to be a little bit better in possession, yada yada. I kind of just need Jack Clark to be good now, ideally, not tomorrow. And I don't think he's a bad player. I just think, and I think it's my pet hate. I hate when a player, especially a winger, has to beat his man 4 times. And the annoying thing is when he does beat his man and releases it, it's not always the best ball. I wouldn't want to go into the Sheffield Wednesday game playing him. I would rather, if Broadhead is injured, start Pritchard in the 10. Brad, one real big positive that kind of just goes under the radar, really. Quick shout out to Anthony Patterson. That's now 7 clean sheets in his last 12. How important has he been in the run? I mean, he's part of that defence that's looking solid and keeping clean sheets.
I mean, I've mentioned him a few times now. He's been brilliant, like a complete breath of fresh air coming back into the side. And to be fair, it was only because there was COVID, Lee Burge's heart issue. We had to recall him. And then Hoffman didn't recover from COVID quick enough, so he was put in. And he hasn't lost his shirt from then. So maybe his fate has put him back in. And he started the season, and rightfully so. Now he's finishing the season. I mean, he didn't have much to do today, did he? Don't think he's really been tested that much the last few games. Plymouth, Cambridge, not really much to do. But what he has had to do, he's done well, which is come and collect balls. If he's got all of it. One thing I do like about him, he tries to play it very, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
And his distribution's getting better and better. I mean, I was knocking his distribution early in the season. But if you see him now, he's very quick at trying to get to the centre halves or get to a wing back quickly. If it's not on, he'll push them up, and his distribution is very good. And 9 times out of 10, he's not on Stewart's head or in and around Stewart to win. So even that side of his games came on, and long may it continue, to be honest. Should be starting to look at the point now, maybe tying him down to one of these long-term deals that we give him to the younger players. Because performances like he's put in this season, people will start having a look at him.
It doesn't take too long when a goalkeeper in specific, especially that age, puts in consistent levels of performances before heads start having a bit of luck. Look at how quickly a couple of good Dan Neil performances or half a good season from Dan Neil's turned heads already. So yeah, for me, he's undoubtedly the best goalkeeper at the club, and I think he's been excellent. Dave, you touched on, actually I can't remember who touched on it here. One of you did. McGeady was back on the bench today. It was actually quite nice to see him clapping the fans and stuff like that. I think we all know that he's not going to get another contract at the end of the season. He's kicking on for, I think, 38 now. And there's a bit of debate that I've seen on Twitter today, because Twitter is, well, it's always if you look for a debate on Twitter, you'll always find one, wouldn't you? Some people are saying it's a pipe dream that McGeady can make any sort of difference. Other people are saying, he's got that kind of magic where maybe he's the kind of person we need just for 10 minutes off the bench. Just solely in your opinion, there's no right, there's no wrong in this. Can Aiden McGeady make a difference in the playoffs?
Yeah, if it's a set piece in the 97th minute, or it's a free kick just outside the edge of the box and you need a bit of magic, I wouldn't put it past him. Do I think he's going to run down the wing for me like he used to do? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, there's a song in that somewhere. I'm sure there is. But yeah, hey, listen, 20 minutes, you need a goal. Put him in the number 10. Just say, listen, Geeds, you're absolutely crocked. We haven't got your Zimmer frame. You can't have it on the pitch. It's against the EFL regulations. But just wander about, mate. And if you get the ball, just like you might feel like a puppy again and have a bit of a run with it. So yeah, I'd never say never. And let's be honest, I'd rather bring him on than him be open with 10 minutes left to go. So yeah, why not?
McGeady, are you technically saying McGeady might have one last dance potentially?
One last dance.
I reckon, to be honest, I reckon there might be 3 last dances, if I'm honest.
What do you think, Brad? Is McGeady making a difference a pipe dream, or is it a genuine weapon in our armory if we have him in the playoffs?
I think he'll come back in. And if anyone's going to push us over the line, if Broadhead's not there, I think he's that little secret weapon. He hasn't played for God knows how long. And you got to think, start of the season, he was okay. Then he had a big dip in form. And I don't know when the last time he played. I think the last time I seen him play maybe was his red card against Rotherham.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's fit. Well, he maybe played once or twice after that, but he didn't stand out. You know what I mean? But effectively, he's trying to play to get another club to give him a contract to prolong his career and say, look, I can still do something. Yeah, I've got faith in him. I think he'll do something in the playoffs. I can understand why people are a little bit skeptical about it. You can completely understand that. But no, I've got faith in him. He's got class where you don't really necessarily need your pace. He's just very, very skillful. He's got a good head on him. And he puts some dangerous balls in the box. And if Ross Stewart's there on the end of them, it's all we want. It's all we want.
I feel daft for saying it, and people might point back to the Defoe remarks I made before we signed him and how he would make a difference. Look, guys, we can get it wrong sometimes. But there's something about McGeady that just makes me go, 10 minutes, playoff final, 10 minutes, you need to go against Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know, there's something about McGeady that makes me think maybe, which is nice rather than thinking nah, which I normally do with Sunderland. But got about 7 minutes or so left, so I'll kind of get straight to the point. Sheffield Wednesday, home and away. So we're top of the form league. Sheffield Wednesday are third, and that's over like the last 10 games. So we're actually going in to the playoffs as the form team, which is the first time that's happened in, I think, almost ever, probably 1998. How confident are you, Dave, in short, that we can get to Wembley against Sheffield Wednesday?
Oh, yeah, in short. For me, this is the tough part. If we get through the semi-final, we're finally getting promoted. My worry is I'd rather this was the playoff final. And I think the EFL and I think the rest of the country would rather it was the final, because that'd be some spectacle. If we get a Milton Keynes or we get to a Wickham, it's going to be 60,000 at Wembley, and 45,000 of that is going to be Sunderland fans, no doubt about it. If it had been Sheffield Wednesday, you've got 90,000 there, and what a game that'd be. Listen, this is the tough, and of course, whoever we play, Wickham or MK Dons in the final, is not going to be an easy gimme. There's no doubt about that. But I genuinely think if we can somehow navigate our way through this semi-final, then I think we finally get promoted. My worry is navigating our way through the semi-final. So I haven't answered your question whatsoever. I'm too negative, mate. I've been here before. But yeah, that's me.
I kind of agree, right? But before I throw the same question at Brad, just to finish the pod, I looked at stats and I looked around form. Because we talk so much about form going into the playoffs, and we have done it in the past. Like last year, no one wanted Blackpool. Nobody wanted Pompey, I think, as it was at the time. Oh, no, Charlton, sorry. And they went up. So Sunderland's home form over the last 6, we've won 5, we've drew 1, we've lost none, we've scored 15 and we've conceded 5. Sheffield Wednesday actually got the best home form over the past 6 games. They've won 5, drew 1, lost none, scored 18. They've only conceded 4. However, that first leg's always going to be really important. Yes, I'd much prefer us to be at home in the second leg, but Pompey a few years ago, I said the same, and we came through it. Sunderland's away form, so going to Hillsborough, right? Sheffield have got the best home form over the past 5 games. Sunderland's away form, we've won 3, we've drew 3, we've lost none of the last 6. Sheffield Wednesday away form pales in comparison, and they've got to come to us first, and we've got the 3rd best home form in the league over the past 6 games. Their away form is they've won 2, they've drew 2, and they've lost 2. They've scored 8, and they've conceded 9. Sunderland away from home over the last 6 games. Do you know how many goals we've conceded?
1.
1 in the last 6 games away from home. So we shouldn't have anything to fear going to Sheffield Wednesday, despite the fact that they've got really good form. We've got incredible away form at the minute where we're not conceding goals, we're tight. And at home, we're not shabby at all either. Yeah, they're not too shabby at home either. Exactly right. But they're not that great away from home. I mean, they've lost 2 of the last 6. Famous last words in that, but those stats are quite good, Brad. After I've just given you those wonderful stats and cheered us all up, made us feel well confident. In short, can we beat Sheffield Wednesday? Can we get Wembley?
Yeah. Is that short enough?
Perfect.
And before we end as well, one player, he went down injured today, and a lot of people listening are going to shit themselves. We need him fit.
I love you. I love you. Love you.
It's my boy, Corey Evans.
He got an assist. He got an assist today.
Fucking turn.
I vote of confidence and a bit of a kick up the arse pep talk, and got my photograph with him. The bloke's been outstanding.
He's really good. He's my man of the match today.
Yeah, without a doubt. He probably has been a couple of times since my famous last words. But yes, I think he's vital, because with the midfield that Sheffield Wednesday have got, I think Sheffield Wednesday probably got the best midfield in the league. Or Barry Bannon, outstanding. He's sort of like Alex Pritchard shouldn't be playing at this level, to be honest. If we can have Evans just covering that defence, I'd be a lot more confident. But yes, I agree with Dave. This is the semis is the one. If we get through that, I'd fancy us against MK Dons or Wickham in a one-off game, especially we'll have double their fans, maybe even treble. But I do fancy us against Sheffield Wednesday, and I'm just judging that on the stats that you just said. But when I've watched them at the stage of my life previously, it was under the lights. It was a night game. By the time the game ends, it'll be under the lights. I just love the stadium under the lights. I just think it'll be rocking the stadium like that. You know, when you said Portsmouth the last time, there was only 20,000 there, wasn't there? This time it feels different because we've achieved something that we set out to achieve at the start of the day. So yeah, we'll beat Sheffield Wednesday home and away.
I'll be back with preview shows. We'll be chatting the games that come up. I'm confident it's going to be 3. But nonetheless, thanks for joining us for the normal season. Let's hope that these pods coming up over the next few weeks are as positive as they've ever been. But that's all from us. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm knackered. I'm absolutely shattered. I'm going to go get some sleep.